Just off the California coast, only 30 miles from San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge, lie the jagged peaks of the Farallon Islands. Harsh beyond words, this national marine sanctuary harbors amazing riches. Like a watering hole in Africa, there's a season when the predators come. For 5 months of every year, a distinct population of predators prowls sanctuary waters, some of the largest great white sharks in the world.
Everybody stay on the boat.
After 25 years, a dedicated band of scientists are on the verge of a major breakthrough to discover why white sharks return to these waters year after year and where they go on the Great White Highway. Every fall, over 100 giant great white sharks, some weighing up to 7,000 pounds, roll in from the open Pacific, one of the richest feeding grounds in all the world, just off the California coast.
Imagine a place with predators that range from bluefin tuna to elephant seals to whales. In this jungle that's actually a blue Serengeti that allows us to actually study the animals and find out how they use the whole Pacific.
Dr. Barbara Block of Stanford University is a lead investigator on a decade-long project, tagging of Pacific predators, or TOP. She has been using groundbreaking technology to create a wired ocean.
We tagged over 4,000 animals from 23 different species,
revealing seasonal migrations over unbelievable distances and uncovering major animal highways, all leading back to the nutrient-rich California current, as dynamic as any ecosystem in Africa.
It's that nutrient-rich water that really makes this the blue Serengeti. It's where the food is. It's where the animals are all going to feed.
Yet even today, the life of one of the ocean's greatest predators remains a mystery.
There's so many questions that we still have to ask. We know almost nothing about what they're doing when they're offshore.
To find clues, the White Shark team hopes to tag 30 sharks this season. But the clock is ticking. In just 5 months, California's white sharks will disappear. It's early October.
We're going to do our thing here and see what we see. It's been slow, but maybe today's the day.
Shark researchers Scott Anderson and Dr. Sal Jorgensen have been sidelined for days due to bad weather.
We call this the washing machine, right, Sal?
This is the washing machine.
The sharks should be here, but Scott and Sal haven't seen many yet. They're just going to have to wait, and wait, and wait.
It's been really, really slow for us. They're just not coming up. We've only had 2 come up since we've been here, but we keep hoping it's going to change.
The sharks have been on a 7-month journey across thousands of miles of the Pacific. But every fall, these apex predators return to play a key role in maintaining a balanced ecosystem and keep it healthy by doing what they do best. Scott of Point Reyes National Seashore and Sal of the Monterey Bay Aquarium will spend all day being tossed around in these rough waters in a skiff smaller than the sharks they're waiting for. And all they have to attract the sharks? A sealed decoy and one small piece of marine mammal to keep them around.
There's a reason we don't see them that much. It's hard to get out here and study them. So, persistence pays off. The electronic tags are helping a lot because they, once we do have contact and we're able to put a tag on, then we can continue to collect data.
The acoustic tags, the one we're using now, if the animal swims by a receiver like that and gets picked up, then somebody could pick it up anywhere along the coast. There's other people with receivers, and they call us when they see them. Shark up! Shark up! There, he's coming up to it. He's coming up to it, right on the decoy. Oh, yeah, he wants it. Okay, no tag.
No tag, so here he goes.
I'm going to give it a line. Nice and Sal Mail. There's the tag registering. Tag right in the fin. Good shot, Sal.
Nice.
Sweet. All right. Tag in.
It's 58441.
441, right?
The shark's fin, gender, and now its tag will help Scott and Sal analyze their shark's movements around the Farallons. This might seem like a simple system, but Scott's been perfecting it for 25 years.
Scott Anderson knows these sharks better than anyone. He's been out here since, what is it, 1987?
Yeah, 1987.
Since 1987, and seen some of the first sharks that we still see here today.
Back then, Scott was a bird bander, drawn here by the largest seabird rookery south of Canada. But Scott always kept one eye peeled for action in the water.
There's a window at the Farallones that faces the sea to the west, and it's a beautiful view. As I was sitting there relaxing at the end of a day, and I saw this log floating there, and it just seemed normal, and all of a sudden the shark rolled up on it and sort of mouthed it. Didn't bite it really hard, but it was curious about it. The more I thought about it, I thought, well, maybe they're actually looking for things, because up until that point, everybody was told that sharks just use their noses. They're not visual creatures.
Scott devised a simple experiment to test his theory that white sharks hunted by sight.
So I thought, well, maybe I could put something out there that looked like a seal and get the sharks to come up.
He deployed one of his old surfboards.
It worked. It turns out white sharks have pretty good vision.
Intrigued, he rigged a film camera to his surfboard to document their ambush tactics.
And then I had it at an angle of 45 degrees looking down. And it turns out that's the very angle they come at to attack it. You have 2 seconds from the time you see it to when it hits the camera.
Scott photographed every white shark he saw, opening a window into their world. As his collection grew, he noticed something. The jagged edge of every white shark's dorsal fin was unique, like a fingerprint, but better, because you could see the difference with the naked eye.
Scott's like the godfather of white sharks. He was the first one to really explore the idea of photo IDs of sharks.
Scott's fin photographs led him to another major discovery. The sharks he was getting to know by name would leave for months, but return to the Farallones season after season. He was confirming a little-known migration pattern and pathway into the individual shark stories.
Certain sharks, you can actually almost get a sense of which one it is by the way they behave. And just to give you an example, there's one that we know called flat top.
Flat top always turns to the left when he comes up to a decoy.
Top of the fin's real flat and then smooth with 2 little notches at the base.
21 years ago, Flat Top was an early recruit in the team's remarkable study. The scientists have gotten to know these sharks, now considered internationally threatened. But in doing so, have raised more questions than answers.
One of the biggest sharks is Mr. Burns. He's the dominant shark of the area. If there's other sharks around, he'll come in and kick them out.
In 2008, Mr. Burns showed up with a massive scar. It wasn't a seal fighting back. Was it another shark? But who and why?
One of our favorite sharks, her name is Scar Girl. She's missing half of her dorsal fin and came up with a number of different scars and marks on her body. She came back for a number of years, and every year she came back, she had new scrapes, new scars.
Scar Girl is a mature female, so her scars may be clues to 2 great mysteries of white shark science. Where do they mate, and where do they give birth? But there's one shark that Scott and Sal hope to see more than any other: Tom Johnson. Scott first identified Tom 25 years ago, making him the oldest known white shark. If he comes back, he'll set another longevity record. After 25 years, Tom Johnson continues to teach us more about growth rates, offshore habits, and longevity.
It's interesting because the published estimate for the life expectancy of a white shark is in the neighborhood of 27 to 29 years. How big was he 25 years ago?
12 to 13 feet.
12 to 13 feet. Now he's around 15 to 16 feet. So he was already close to being an adult 25 years ago. So it's been around a long time.
Tom doesn't have a tag now. It came off last year, so the guys need to get a new one on to keep track of him. Now shark season's in full swing. The last stragglers should be coming in, but they haven't seen him yet.
The weather's cooperating. The sharks today haven't.
We're patient. We'll keep trying. Never give up.
Suddenly, it's Scott's old friend.
Tom Johnson.
The question is Tom too smart for them? It's late October. the heart of California's white shark research season. And Scott Anderson and Sal Jorgensen have a chance to continue a historic science partnership. Tom Johnson, the world's longest studied white shark, has just shown up. But can they tag him?
He's coming around. He's on it, Sal. Beautiful. Nice. That's perfect.
They put on an acoustic tag, which means they'll be able to detect him for the rest of the season.
That's the beauty of these tags, is now we know he's here without having to see him. Yeah.
Acoustic tags send a signal to a local receiver that pings and displays their distinct number when a tagged shark is in the area.
Yeah, 58449. So that is Tom Johnson.
But acoustic tags have their limitations. The sharks have to swim by a receiver to get a signal.
There's a good chance they come by here every year, but we don't detect them every year.
An unusual underwater view of the sanctuary is provided by a pair of volunteer eyes. Ron Elliott first came to the Farallones in 1989 as an urchin diver.
Out at the Farallones, I would see him every day. When I was up on Shark Watch, I'd look down and very methodically get ready. The next thing you know, he's gone.
Retired from harvesting, filming undersea life has become Ron's passion.
Well, I've learned a lot about white sharks, being around Scott. I met Scott a long time ago when he was working out at the Farallones there. He seems to be the one guy that knows what they're doing underwater without him diving.
Ron's footage is the most exciting thing I can see at the Farallones because it's something I can never do. See, I'm scared of almost anything bigger than me underwater anyways.
Well, I've asked Scott if he wanted to go diving with me anytime, and he said, no thanks.
Ron's dives provide rare documentation of white shark behavior.
Felt like if I just kind of blend in, it would be okay, because most of the time it was curiosity with the sharks. I've had them come right at me, and I've had to fall away, and they'll just go right over me, just like right over me.
One shark seems to have learned to stay away from boats.
One of them has a really obvious top of its tail chopped off, like probably from a boat propeller. And then there's some big slits in the dorsal fin, and I've seen that one a number of years in a row. But the researchers haven't tagged it. So it's one that won't come close to them, but I see it quite a bit diving.
Ron's seen a few sharks the team has not, but most are familiar fins, like Flat Top and Jester. At the end of each year, he offers his footage to the team.
Since I was diving out there, I just felt, it was my duty to kind of help out.
But even in a hot spot like the Farallones, bad weather and powerful currents often keep the sharks and researchers from crossing paths. For Barbara Block, that's not good enough. Her plan is to deploy the latest technology to wire the ocean to get a constant stream of data from the tags. Today, it's sea trials for her newest tool.
We put in our VR4 global receiver. It's listening for the acoustic tags. They record on the receiver, and then the big leap of technology is we're now uplinking through a satellite, and then we're getting it directly through the internet.
It's Shark Wi-Fi. The receiver picks up the tag signals and beams the shark's location to a satellite. Now Barbara and the team can identify and track sharks from their phones.
All right, let's go see what the shark bed is.
52429.
Wait, there's 2 more tags here.
So how many total?
3.
So this is 62141 and 52429.
It's amazing.
The tags reveal their range extending up and down the California coast. One of their hotspots is Tamales Point, just 37 miles from the Farallones. It's a hangout for males.
It can be treacherous in spots if you don't know the area.
Graduate student Paul Kanive and his assistant Mike Jansen are the core of the Tamales effort.
Every day I just jump on the boat, jet out of the bay to Tamales Point.
But there is no elephant seal colony here, so it's unclear what attracts the sharks. Movements of males like Mr. Burns may point to an answer.
Coming in, Paul. Right on the decoy. Mr. Burns is a big, dominant male that sort of rules the roost around here, and he just chomps the decoy as hard as he can. Shakes it around.
He hangs out here for a long time. Last year was actually the only year that we've heard him go out to the Farallones because he was tagged. So it was kind of cool to see that he was trying a different area.
Where sharks went on leaving the California current each winter remained a mystery. They needed innovative new technology. That's where the satellite tags come in, like the one Scott put on Mr. Burns in 2006.
These are tags that are actually measuring light, pressure, and temperature. We're actually calculating position by the time of sunrise and sunset.
These miniature tracking computers record vital data and are programmed to pop off after a predetermined amount of time. On hitting the surface, they send a homing signal to a satellite that may answer basic questions like where the sharks go.
People thought that white sharks were mostly coastal animals. And now we know that they spend half their time on the coast and half the time they head off into the open ocean.
So the electronic tags that we're putting on help us track the animals and find out where are the critical areas they're utilized.
Look at Mr. Burns. In December 2006, he left Tomales Point and swam southwest for more than 1,500 miles. And he wasn't alone. Tom Johnson took a similar path to the same vast unknown swath of the Pacific Ocean.
They're heading out 2,000, 3,000 miles offshore. And they don't go together as a pack or a school. Their migrations are staggered, and one goes off and then another one.
Almost as if there's some great white highway. A dedicated band of scientists are on the verge of a major breakthrough to discover why white sharks return to these waters and where they go on the Great White Highway. The tags are proving that these predators follow ancestral routes over vast distances on seasonal migrations, just like the animals on the African Serengeti. The question is, what is on the other end of the highway that's worth the trip? Satellite tagging suggests an answer.
Those satellite tags give us these locations. There's two reasons that an animal will go offshore. Either it's going offshore for food, or it's going offshore for mating. We kind of went with the name White Shark Cafe, because it's the type of place that you can meet somebody special, you can go grab a bite to eat, so.
No one has ever seen white sharks mating in the Pacific. But this clear congregation out in the cafe suggests a good place to look. We still have a long way to go to understand the ocean. But we do know that it's a system, and that keeping it in balance is vital for wildlife and humans. From shark expert to big wave surfer, it's widely known that when you hit the ocean off California in the fall, there could be great white sharks in the break. Of course, the rocky points that sharks prefer make for great surf spots. The great whites aren't the man-eaters they're made out to be.
I've never seen a shark out there, and I'm sure if I did see one, it would instantly be my #1 concern. But, you know, when you're out there and it's life-threatening waves, that's on your mind more than a shark that you've never seen, you know?
And when they do bite a human, it's almost always a case of mistaken identity.
And that's what they do in the wild. There might be a carcass left over floating around that the sharks kind of see the silhouette, and so they go in to investigate. They're very inquisitive animals. They're very curious.
We have a pretty unique knowledge of these sharks, and we don't hesitate to get in the water and surf. We were all out surfing today. The whole team was out surfing today. We're smart about it. We're not going to go to spots that we know that they feed. Their natural place is the oceans, and when we're there, we're guests. We shouldn't be afraid of them. We should go and enjoy the water, but we should be respectful.
That respect means letting these sharks, which have such a vital role in keeping the ocean healthy, have their space. And avoiding hotspots where sharks prey on seals. Hotspots like Año Nuevo, 50 miles south of the Farallones. One of the largest mainland breeding colonies of northern elephant seals in the world. Barbara Block and Dan Costa, the foremost elephant seal authority, joined forces under the Global Census of Marine Life to try to understand the interconnections of these two predators.
Okay. All right.
All right, no worries.
So when we started, this is where the textbook said elephant seals were distributed, from middle Baja California up to Vancouver, just a few hundred miles off the coast. That's what we thought. When we put tags on the animals and we tracked them by satellite, we saw that they went throughout the North Pacific Ocean. So the difference between that and that is quite astounding. This, to me, was one of our more amazing records. This is a female in 1996, and the same animal 11 years later in 2007. So here's Año Nuevo, here's the Aleutian Islands, down here is Hawaii, and you can see that her tracks, 11 years apart, are almost the same.
From distant waters, juvenile elephant seals return in August to this one tiny beach. The juvenile seals come here to rest. These young bite-sized morsels are an obvious draw for sharks prowling for a calorie-rich meal.
These elephant seals definitely can fall victim to shark predation. Anytime that they pass through areas that have those predators, they run the gauntlet for sure.
The researchers believe that white sharks need the elephant seal's fatty blubber to fuel their long journey to the White Shark Cafe. In the 1800s, fur and oil traders wiped out every northern elephant seal colony in the U.S. But thanks to the Marine Mammal Protection Act, they are flourishing.
They first went to Año Nuevo Island, and then eventually a few females started breeding on the mainland. And from there, the entire population has rebounded from several dozen individuals to over 150,000.
This healthy population of fat seals is an irresistible attraction for our sharks. So it's a surprise to learn that while the seals are still at Año Nuevo, the sharks start to leave, heading out to open ocean on the Great White Highway. What could possibly be pulling them away from seal blubber? A valuable clue is swimming thousands of miles away in warmer water. A huge 16-foot female, Taylor named Scar Girl.
She's a 16-foot behemoth of a shark. She looks kind of like a train wreck.
She's missing half of her dorsal fin and came up with a number of different scars and marks on her body.
Taylor first tagged Scar Girl at Tamales in the fall of 2007.
No tag?
Her attitude is pretty special. She doesn't care. She gets tagged and she's just like, what was that? That's it?
She was spotted again in 2008, but no sign of her in 2009. Taylor and our team were thrilled when her acoustic tag was detected in Hawaii, a place just coming into focus as crucial white shark habitat.
Some colleagues that have monitors in Hawaii picked her up, her acoustic tag up in Hawaii in 2009. So 2009 she went to Hawaii, 2010 she was back on the coast here in the fall, and now 2011 she's in Hawaii again.
What was Scar Girl doing in Hawaii, so far from the known white shark hotspots? Although Hawaiian lore held sharks as family guardians, Amakua, few scientists believed that white sharks came this far west. Then on April 16, 2001, a satellite tag our team deployed in California was detected near Hawaii. On October 28, 2002, the Pisces submersible was at 446 meters off Molokai when...
Look at this. What is this? Holy smoke, this looks like a great white. It is a great white. That is a great white shark. That's a great white.
Then on December 3rd, 2005, Jimmy Hall, owner of Hawaiian Shark Encounters, filmed this historic interaction.
When she first showed up, the people in the cave started yelling about, there's a giant shark here! We saw a white shark in Hawaii, which is incredibly rare, and then we saw one that was so big that it would have been rare even in South Africa, Guadalupe Island, in places where they see white sharks.
Her tremendous girth was obvious, but was she pregnant or had she just gorged on a whale? As our team studied satellite tags from dozens of great whites, they found something fascinating. Each spring, all mature males head to the White Shark Cafe. Meanwhile, females linger near Hawaii. Then some females join the males at the cafe.
We know that the males are doing this incredible diving behavior where they're going up and down between the surface and about 250 meters.
These dramatic dives could be mating, or they could be hunting.
And they're doing this sometimes 90 times a day at a very fast pace. And that happens only in the spring, only in the cafe.
White shark population has never been seen before, never been witnessed. Other shark species show the act of mating to be rather violent in nature. Males subduing the females through latching on with their jaws.
If white sharks are doing the same things at the cafe, it could explain Scar Girl's marks.
She came back for a number of years, and every year she came back, she had new scrapes, new scars.
But while some females head to the cafe, others stay in Hawaii. Are they pregnant? The gestation period of white sharks is unknown, but scientists estimate it's between 12 and 18 months. They do know a female can bear up to 14 live pups, up to 5 foot long. Like us, white sharks are warm-bodied. In Hawaii's waters, keeping warm takes less energy. So are pregnant females drawn to these waters to gestate their pups? Is the North Shore a white shark maternity ward? We just don't know yet.
Last year, Paul put a satellite tag on that will give us a track of where she's been over the past year, and it just popped off this week.
Hi, Bryce, are you there? We had a really interesting thing happen where we had a year-out white shark that we tagged last season. That shark has actually popped up over near Oahu. We're trying to get a boat together.
I think we can do it. Oh, yeah, I think I can find a boat for us.
Yeah, okay, and it's time sensitive because these are small batteries and they only last about 7 days. And we're already in day 2. If we're going to do this, we have to do it in the next 2 days.
Okay.
Scargirl then really is one of these sort of hidden gems wearing a satellite tag, and the satellite tag is going to give us really everything she's been doing, diving and the ambient temperature she's experienced. So my gosh, it'll be, if we could get back a gold mine of data.
Yeah, and just where she's been. I mean, that's one of the coolest things too. Hopefully we'll get it. Right now it's just off the North Shore of Hawaii, and it was moving west, so we're hoping that it's actually going to drift over towards Kauai and then pop up on the beach and we'll go pick it up.
The tag's pop-up location is familiar. Near the Pisces and Jimmy Hull encounters. So how many mature female great whites are seasonally in these Hawaiian waters? Scientists just didn't know. Or know how many great whites there were in this northeastern Pacific region. Dr. Taylor Chappell was determined to find out.
I don't think we had any real guess of where the population was going to be. Scott Anderson keyed us in on the bounty of sharks that come to Tomales Point. And it's great because Scott has a record of those sharks for the past 10 years. He's got a record of the sharks at the Fairlands for the past 25 years.
Scott's 25-year photo collection and the team's capturing of new images was critical. Out of over 300 photographs of shark fins, the team isolated 130 unique individuals. Then they used statistical analysis to estimate the overall number.
So our estimate was the first real robust estimate in the Northeast Pacific. We determined that there's only about 220 subadult and adult white sharks off of Central California.
This number made the team's scientific paper the subject of hot debate.
It was a surprising find. It's a small number.
The white shark community some of them didn't believe it at first, but I think the more and more models that we showed came up with the same result. People started to get convinced.
But no one disputes that white sharks are rare, like most of the world's large predators.
Their numbers could be threatened, but it's unclear at this point.
Only about 1,500 polar bears hunt the frozen sea north of Alaska. About 1,100 orcas patrol the Northeast Pacific, while blue whales are down to the thousands. As for California white sharks, with every tag they get closer to an answer.
So the next big question really is that population increasing? Is it at a steady state? That's something that we're working on.
Even though some answers may take them on a wild shark tracking chase across the Pacific.
Everybody stay on the boat.
There it is!
5 days ago, Scargirl's flashlight-sized tag, which might have helped solve the mystery of the reproduction of white sharks, popped off. It sent a signal from the coast of Hawaii, exactly 12 months after she was tagged off California. Sal and Taylor had plane tickets in hand, anxious to fly west and get their mini computer. But our team gets some crushing news.
The weather, to quote some of the captains, was nuclear.
Scargirl's satellite tag is swept out to sea. It's late November, near the end of a long, exhausting season. But Barbara and Taylor are working to get their remaining 3 satellite tags on mature females. So Barbara and Taylor head back into one of the white shark's favorite feeding grounds.
Right on the reef. It's probably about 9 feet right now.
Here we go. Come on, baby. Come to mama.
All right, here we go. She's a small female. She's got claw marks on her face. She's got to tag it. Yep.
This female was tagged at Tomales Point just a few weeks ago. She's traveled nearly 100 miles to come here. But another shark chases her off.
So there's 2 sharks right around the boat.
A much larger, untagged female comes in.
Coming up, coming up, coming up.
Oh, tagging.
So that was 58442?
Yep.
Now at least 5 sharks are at the boat.
Tagging. All right, we got 1 tag left.
Okay, shh, 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 it's coming in.
Everybody stay on the boat. Female.
Fresh bite marks above her pectoral fins make him think she may have mated recently at the cafe. But she doesn't necessarily want to get tagged. Her curiosity about the boat's propeller gives him the opening he needs.
Tag in.
And her new name, Engine.
Nice job.
With the last tag out, the team will spend the next 6 months in the lab, analyzing their rich data.
Maybe what we want to do. It's up to you.
On May 15th, they get big news. Engine's tag is popped and is transmitting a retrieval location. It's off the north side of Molokai, near where Scargirl's tag surfaced the year before. Sal and Taylor have just a few days to find it before its battery dies or, like Scargirl's, its priceless data is swept out to sea. As soon as they touch down in Hawaii, they hone in on the general area of the tag using a satellite receiver.
It's going to be hard to find this black tag in the middle of the night. So we've been listening for it, and it's straight down the beach, but what we need to do is find out if it's really straight down the beach or if it's off a little bit. If it's off, it might still be out floating. And then we'll start walking down the beach as far as we can go. Nice, there it is, straight ahead. All right. Satellite. There it is! All right! Look at that. Awesome.
I can't believe you put this on a white shark 6 months ago. Well, the cool thing about having the tag is that we get all the data that's stored inside. So we get every detailed movement of the shark, and we can reconstruct their behavior offshore.
Not only do we get the data that got transmitted to the satellite, we get all of the archive data. So we have all this very fine-scale data about where she was, what her diving behavior was, the temperature of the water that she was in.
This has really opened up new doors to discovery, but at the same time, it's opened up a can of questions, too. So it's a really exciting time. The technology's advancing. We're pushing the manufacturers to keep pace with our new questions.
Answering that can of questions leads our team to test a potentially game-changing breakthrough, the liquid robotics wave glider. Armed with satellite and acoustic receivers, the glider could fulfill Dr. Block's dream of a wired ocean, relaying real-time data via satellite. Wave-powered and satellite-steered, the wave glider can go anywhere in the ocean, even the Holy Grail, the White Shark Cafe.
We're hoping to put some of these guys out there and follow them around and learn more about that offshore habitat.
These gliders are now primed to go across 2/3 of our planet, take data that's important to help building better models of climate change and how the ocean and the atmosphere interact.
Such knowledge just might ensure a future for the great predators. So what does it all mean?
What we know now is where the animals forage, where their hotspots are, and in some cases we know where the breeding areas are. When we have this specific habitat locations, we can then build the type of protection that crosses international boundaries. Once they swim outside our boundaries, they're actually exposed to fishers from many nations in the Pacific.
One factory ship venturing to the cafe could not just be the end of Mr. Burns. It could devastate the population. The study that began with Tom Johnson 25 years ago continues to show us how little we understand about life in the ocean.
When we put all this data together, there's going to be some interesting revelations about this coast.
America's Blue Serengeti, our backyard treasure, is surely worthy of becoming a World Heritage Site. We still don't know where Engine bears her young. Scargirl's not been spotted since her tag popped off on November 1st.
The tag popped off just off Molokai, and so we can start to figure out what exactly she was doing off Molokai and in the Hawaiian chain.
Satellite transmission revealed that she visited the cafe in the spring and returned briefly to California before going to Hawaii. What she did there and where she is today remains a mystery. But there is one thing we do know. Come fall, our scientists will be waiting for her, hoping she and the rest of this community of great whites make it back to keep the ocean healthy for them and for us.